My name is Sylvia Skrupchuk. I was born in Thunder Bay. When it was Fort William, I was part of the first class that went right through St. Elizabeth's Elementary School, and part of the first class that made our first communion at St. Elizabeth's Church. And it was kind of rocky at the very beginning as well, too, that for a while I was not part of the faith. Through a series of times of my life that were searching times, and I came back to Catholicism, but also I was very moved, I think, for most of my life in terms of justice. And it's part of the culture, too, that I came up through those movements. And at the time, actually, Bishop O'Mara was here, and I had taken a year off teaching, and he was a member of the Economics Commission for the bishops. Introduced me to some of the people that were working in Latin America, and I can remember thinking, okay, this is how I want to change my life, right? Then got very involved in development and peace, as well as other justice organizations as well, too. Sort of been led into, a passion for social justice, but also I was able to spend a year at the Jesuit school at Berkeley, California, and so that became far more holistic, far more interreligious, involving, dance and creation, and so my faith has really expanded, and in very many ways it's really been a blessing. I am parts of groups of people that I guess all of us tend to think we're a bit on the edge of our faith. There are many Catholics who hang on to this faith because of justice, because of the theology we've studied, and as I said, with development and peace, very much motivated by Catholic social teaching, by option for the poor, the fact that we are really trying to build capacity in the Global South, that it's really very much a development agency, or it's not just humanitarian, and it educates Canadians as well in terms of the what's going on in the Global South. Development and peace is in the Diocese of Thunder Bay, and so the best thing to do there is to actually go onto the website. It's right there on the website of who to contact, finding out how to become a member. But the other thing is, as well, is to go onto the Development and Peace website, www.devp.org, and there is so much information there about development and peace. You can also hear it in the parishes as well, and this is beginning at the beginning of Lent, right? And so you'll hear, you should see the posters, you should get information about Share Lent, and in fact there is an envelope. If you have envelopes for collections, there is an envelope for the fifth Sunday of Lent called Solidarity Sunday. So that would be a good way of introducing yourself. Participate by becoming a member. You can be a Share Year Round member, which is a monthly giving, and participate in the education programs for the fall, and then also it's an education and financial thing that happens in Lent. How much is faith important in my life? I wouldn't consciously think this all the time, but I think it's the motivator behind my life and behind what really is important to me. I think that one of the biblical passages that is most important to me is Micah 6:8, which says this is what God asks of us: to act justly, to love tenderly, and to walk humbly with God. It's communication with God. It's communication with divine. So whether I'm meditating, which is the constant, whether I am praying with scripture, whether I'm in nature, for me fundamentally it really is communication with God, communication with the divine that surrounds us with love. I think what's very important, a belief that the Spirit is there in the midst of our lives, in the midst of all of the problems, all of the pain, all of the suffering. God is deeply, deeply involved in the situation. The love that pours out of God, in light of my faith, That's what I have to say. That's where the hope is, that somehow in the midst of all of this, that if we are attentive, that the Spirit is in there yearning to create new life and yearning to create hope in amongst all of us, right? It's within community, it's within others that's where, the hope lies as well too, right? So, because certainly in the midst of, COVID and climate change, all of the disasters, but somehow I believe that in the midst of that, there is the spirit of love, the spirit of newness that wants to give life and so on, right? So.